Welcome to the demo for Sinopia Release 1.0. I'm Michelle Futornik, the Sinopia product owner. In this demo, I'm going to be showing you a lot of new features that we've put in since our last demo. I'm going to show features about loading and selecting resource templates, and features involving actually cataloging and saving data. And finally, our newest feature is searching data that was created in Sinopia. So we'll start with importing and selecting resource templates. One of the updates we've made is to show you more information about each resource template that's listed on this page. So we now show, in addition to the template name and ID, we show the author. And if there was a guiding statement about the resource template, we show that as well. And you can note that the list, as soon as you visit the list, it's automatically sorted alphabetically by template name. And then you can do additional sorting. You could choose instead to sort by the template ID or by the author. And when you upload a new template, it will automatically be added to the list in the right place in the sorted list. So I'm going to add a new template, and I get a confirmation here that my template was uploaded. And I know this template is called Profile Test 1.0, so here it is, and it's sorted in the right place by template name. And I should add that I'm doing this demo on the staging environment, so stage.sinopia.io. If you add an updated version of an existing template, so if I were to upload another profile with a resource template called test RT1, but with changed information, the changes will show up right away. So this template is Profile Test 1.0. It has an author. It doesn't have a guiding statement. And I'm going to upload a new version of that. I'll get a warning to let me know that that resource template already exists, and I'll choose yes to overwrite it. And I get a confirmation message here that it was updated. And now I see that the name has changed because the one I uploaded had a changed name, and it also added a guiding statement. Another feature we've added is the ability to download any of these resource templates that are in Sinopia. So you might want to do this if you want to take a closer look at how these resource templates look in the JSON themselves, or if you want to use one as the basis for another resource template that you want to create. So for our best practices in the LD4P project, we are keeping our profiles and resource templates in GitHub as a shared repository. So that's where you would look for the best version of a template. But if you weren't sure where one of these came from in GitHub, or you wanted to verify that the latest version from GitHub had actually been uploaded to Sinopia, the way to see what these templates actually are is to download them. So if you click download, what'll happen is that the JSON file of this resource template will be downloaded to your local machine. So one caveat here is if you then wanted to use that, say, as the basis for a new profile or a new resource template, and then you might think, oh, I can just load that right back up into the profile editor and see what it looks like and use it as the basis for a new resource template. Well, what will happen when you try to upload that, you'll get an error because you're trying to upload a resource template, not a profile. And the profile editor, as well as the Sinopia import a profile feature, both are expecting a profile containing resource templates, not a lone resource template. But we do have in the Sinopia help site, which you can get to at any time, from any Sinopia page, click Help and Resources, and then Sinopia help site. Then under How To, you'll see how to turn a resource template into an importable profile. And this page gives you a link to a very quick and easy tool, thank you, Tim Thompson, that will let you turn that resource template into an uploadable profile, or if you prefer to do your own hand editing, you've got the JSON that you need to add here. Now I'm going to show you the new features related to cataloging. So for this, I'm using a demonstration template. So the first thing you'll notice is that almost all of the fields are collapsed for a clean look and easier way to navigate through long templates. But there are some fields that are expanded or open, and the reason for that is they're either required, as indicated by this asterisk here for form of work and summary, or they have a default value, like this content type. So the reason that those are open is to make it easier to make sure to fill in the required fields, and also to show you that there is a default value here. If you were to save this description, this default value would be included. So we want to make sure that you saw that in case you need to edit it. Also, if you choose to include one of these nested elements, like creator of work, and there's a required field within that nested resource template, we'll have that open as well. So that's why this primary contributor field is shown expanded, but the other fields are not. We made some improvements to literal fields. So under title here, preferred title, I'm going to enter a literal value. And in the past, you would have had to hit enter to get this value to actually be recognized by Sinopia. But we've made a couple changes so that you don't end up entering a value and saving and not realizing that your value wasn't actually saved. So one change is the save button is actually disabled until this value gets entered into the form. And you could hit enter as before, but you don't have to. We've made it so now any action you do after you enter the value will have the effect of entering the value. So if I just click on another field, for example, then my value gets entered and I could then save without losing my value. Another new feature with literal fields is for fields that are repeatable, you can now remove one of the repetitions if you need to. And reminder that you can also bring any of the values back in for further editing. We also have repeatable nested items. Here, this dissertation item is actually a whole other template that's nested inside this one with several fields. So I can have several instances of this just by clicking add another. And if I end up needing to remove one of them, I can do that. As you're working, you can use preview RDF at any time to see what triples are being created out of the information you're entering. And it does get updated dynamically as you enter any kind of information. Here's that dissertation node. Now for a lookup field, This subject field is looking at LCSH. So when I type a value here, it's going to search and we show you the matches. We don't show you any context about each of these, but if you do select one, this value turns into a clickable URI. So I could click on that, open it up, and go see the actual authority record for that subject heading that I selected if I needed more information about it. Another new feature in lookup fields is that if you don't find a value you want in the lookup, you could actually add your own either URI or literal value. So say I want to put a Wikidata entity here as the subject of my work, and we don't offer lookups to Wikidata yet, but I could type in the Wikidata URI. And then I'll get an option here to put in a new URI. So I'll click that. Now this is also a clickable URI. I can make sure I entered the right thing. And you could also just enter a literal. And if that's not found, in the lookup, you'll get an option to add a new literal. There's other fields that expect a URI. These are fields that have been configured by the profile creator with a property type resource, but they're not pointing to another resource template. So that in Sinopia, that translates to a field that expects you to enter a URI. And if I don't enter a URI, we have improved validation now. So it'll let me know that this is really has to be a URI. And then it's okay. One of the newest features is that we can now have lookups to entities created in Sinopia. So when the profile creator configures this template and says that a certain field should look up to Sinopia entities, that works now. So here in related works, it's set up to be a lookup to things that are already cataloged in Sinopia. So I can search for something that I know is already there and find it. I could also use a wildcard in any combination to search through what's already been created in Sinopia. And here we are only searching title fields for now. Some other features that involve UI improvements. One is better messaging when something goes awry with a lookup configuration. So this is a template that's based on a template copied from the Library of Congress, and they have different ways of specifying lookups. This field, geographic coverage of content, when I open it up, it's giving me a message saying that it's unable to find this particular lookup. So before we added this messaging, you would have just received a very shallow box that you couldn't enter anything into and you had no idea what was wrong. Now we give you this message so that you can troubleshoot or report this specific error. Also, we now warn you if you try to navigate away from this page and you haven't saved your data. Finally, when you do save your data, Sinopia checks that you filled in the required fields, and if you haven't, you get a helpful message telling you which fields still need filling in, and those fields will also be outlined in red so that you can jump to them easily. And as you complete the required information, this message will update. So when I add my summary, then that part of the message goes away and tells me all I need to do now is enter the form of the work. And now I can save. Here you choose the group that you want to save to, and this will not be used yet in Sinopia, but eventually this will be used as a way to filter searches for Sinopia descriptions. And you get a confirmation message that it's been saved and a URI is minted. And this is an actual dereferenceable URI that you can paste into a browser and get back the statements associated with your description. And now to our newest feature, which is the search tab. Here you can see, by using the wildcard, everything that's been created in Sinopia. And again, we're only searching title fields at this point. This is a simple search for our release 1.0. And you can click on any of these and open up that entity's description. And as more descriptions are created, as soon as there's more than 10 items, then the results will be paginated. So it won't take so long to load the list as it gets longer and longer. And two sort of overall features to show. One is that the version number of Sinopia is now shown at the upper left corner, so you can be sure you have the right version. And in help and resources, there's now an easy link to report a bug or suggest a new feature. And these are going to go right to our GitHub repository with a nice issue template ready to go. So this was the bug report. Here it will tell you all the things that you should include when you report the bug if you can. And the same with if you want to make a suggestion for a new feature. Here's a guide to what to include in the suggestion. So the Load RDF tab is a new feature where you can paste in a set of triples along with naming a resource template that you want to load those triples into. And Sinopia will create essentially a new description for you. So this is a way that you can derive a new description from an existing one in Sinopia. So to find an existing record that you want to derive from, you can go to the Search tab, find the description you're interested in. When you get there, preview the RDF and just copy it, select and copy it. So notice I'm looking at an existing description. It's already cataloged, it already has a minted URI. Now I'm going to go to Load RDF and paste in what I copied. Just leave the space URI field blank and click Submit. So now I'm in the editor, I'm looking at the same template with the same data, but there's no minted URI. So this is a completely new description waiting for me to edit it. And save it. It's going to become a completely new description, unrelated to the first one. Let's go back to search. And there's the one that I created based on the first one, but not in any way linked to it. You can do it with even more complex descriptions than that one. So here's a pretty long description with a lot of components, but I could do the same thing. I could preview the RDF, copy that, go over to load RDF, paste it in, and submit. And it takes a while to load because it is a longer description, but here I have a completely new description, everything I copied, but I could change, delete, add, and then when I save it, it's going to get a new URI. That concludes our demo of release 1.0 of Sinopia.